At this time, Karen is going to come and bring the word of life to us.
This message today was changed, it was tweaked, it was lost, it was found, and I'm so glad to be able to bring it to you and get it off my chest. My sermon today is entitled A Picture of Gethsemane, A Journey to Acceptance and Peace. The main body text comes from Mark chapter 14, verses 32 through 42. But I want to talk about tragedy and the things that we're faced with in the trials in our lives. And I know that there's not one of us that haven't gone through something that we haven't cried out to God and said, why me? Or, why are you allowing this? Maybe you didn't cause it, but why are you allowing me to suffer? You could have stopped this. You could have avoided this pain for me. Why did he choose not to? This is exactly the question that Christ was asking in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was seeking answers from God the Father. When God's plans lead us through pain, how do we fully accept his will and find peace in the journey between where we are and where he wants us to be? The picture of a Christian. One of the most widely recognized works of Christian art is the portrait of Jesus kneeling at the rock praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was painted by Heinrich Hoffmann in 1890. The picture portrays Jesus with a halo of light around his head, his hands clasped with a serene look on his face, and as he looks to the heavens, it's sheer peace. In the background, you can see 3 disciples on the ground in a position of sleep. This artist's rendering of what Christ looked like as he dealt with his impending doom, so serene and peaceful, I look at it and I say to myself, well, he's God. He knew his fate and he had the ability to fully trust God because he was divine and he knew how it would turn out. This picture of Christ, our earthly example of a Christian, in no way, shape, or form represents me as a Christian when I'm in trials and tribulations. This is where Satan accuses me, and he accuses God. He says I'm unworthy as a Christian. This picture is beautiful, but it's misleading. This does not represent to me Christ's experience in the Garden of Gethsemane. When we read the story from Mark, his point of view is very different. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here and keep watch." Going a little farther, he fell to the ground and he prayed that if possible, the hour might pass from him. He was on a stressful journey. The word in Hebrew for garden translates a place of rest or peace. Christ journeyed to the Garden of Gethsemane at the bottom of the slope of the Mount of Olives, opposite the Temple Mount. Now, I am a creature of pictures. I see pictures in my head, and I had to go and map it out. I wanted to see what this looked like. And it was always confusing to me because it's, oh, well, he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. Well, he prayed at the Mount of Olives, and he prayed. Wait a minute, where are these places and what does it look like? So today I'm going to take you on that journey. Through my words, I hope you can see the picture of what Christ saw. When they left the upper room, they would have crossed the Kidron Brook, which flowed in the valley between the Temple Mount and the Mount of Olives. It was a narrow creek that you could easily step over. The name Kidron means dark and gloomy. The water carried the sewage from the city, and a trench had been dug from the Temple Mount, so the blood from the animal sacrifices could flow into the stream. Now Josephus wrote that the brook Kidron often ran red with the blood of sacrifices. We know there was a full moon that night because Passover is always marked by a full moon. Now as Jesus stepped over this river of blood, he saw the moon reflected on its dark surface. I'm sure it made him think of his own blood that would soon be running down this brook. These last few hours in the garden were some of the most stress-filled moments in the earthly life of Christ. The word Gethsemane comes from two Aramaic words. Gethsemane, which means olive press. The olive tree is called the tree of life because it gives oil for light, medicine, food, and soap. To harvest the olives, cloths were spread under the branches, and then the harvesters took heavy sticks and beat the branches to make the olives fall onto the cloths. It reminds me of the beating that Christ took at the hands of the Roman soldiers. The olives were then placed in a stone press, and a huge millstone crushed them into pulp. That first olive oil was called extra virgin olive oil, and it's clear. But then the olive pulp was put into a cloth bag, and it endured 2 more crushings, using long presses weighted down with stones, and sometimes a huge press driven by a wooden screw twisted tight. The olives were crushed 3 times until no oil remains in the pulp. The final crushing of the olive pulp produces a thick, dark oil some say resembles blood. 3 crushings. And Jesus prayed 3 times in this garden where olives were crushed. Now Luke chapter 22 verse 44 says, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and he sweat drops of blood falling to the ground. Now Luke was a doctor, and so from his point of view, he understood what was happening. And he used this medical word that we still use today, thrombosis. The literal translation is blood mixed with sweat. Jesus was under such agonizing pressure, his scalp began to ooze bloody sweat. This condition isn't unique. A medical expert, Dr. David Taraska, has commented, of medical significance is that Luke mentions him as having sweat like blood. This medical term for this hematidrosis has been seen in patients who have experienced extreme stress or shock to their systems. The capillaries around the sweat pores become fragile and leak blood into the sweat. Now, French King Charles IX died at the age of 23 from this very syndrome. Being a Catholic, he ordered the St. Bartholomew's Massacre, in which over 10,000 French Protestants were killed. The stress from his guilt drove him crazy. Blood began to seep through his pores, and he died in agony. This condition is rare, but most people die of it. So see how close to death Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane? Jesus left the disciples and fell on his face and prayed this prayer. Abba, Father, he said, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me. Yet not what I will, but what you will. Abba. That's the term that a Jewish child used when he was calling his father Daddy or Papa. Jesus said, Daddy, you can do anything. How many times have you had a conversation with a child, your own child, and said, please, Daddy, you can do it. This is what he was doing. Take this cup from me. The phrase, to drink a cup, meant to experience something. Earlier, Jesus had said to the disciples, James and John, and he asked them if they were able to drink of the cup that he was going to drink. He wasn't talking about a real cup. He was referring to the experience of suffering and death. So what did Jesus see in this cup? This cup that he asked the Lord to take from him. The cup held many things. The cup was a cup of isolation, separation, causing emotional pain. He knew he was going to die alone. See, the one thing that we forget, Jesus knew all of the things that were going to happen to him in the next few hours. Isaiah prophesied this back in chapter 53, long before Christ ever was born. So this baby, this beautiful baby, was born under the shadow of his impending death. The Bible says the common people heard him gladly. Children flocked to him. He was always surrounded by people. Early in his ministry, there were thousands following him. Remember, he fed 5,000 people on one occasion and 4,000 another time. But the closer he got to the cross, the more alone he was. This night, he was down to 12 in the upper room. Then one left to betray him. And he only had 3 disciples in the inner garden with him. And he cometh, and he findeth them sleeping. And saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldn't thou watchest 1 hour? Verse 38 of Mark 22 says, Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but this flesh is weak. And again he went away and prayed and spake the words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. Neither wist they what to answer. And he cometh the 3rd time and saith unto them, Sleep on now, take your rest. It is enough, the hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up and let us go to the betrayer. He that betrayeth me is at hand. They forsook him and fled. Judas brought the soldiers with him into the garden and identified Christ with a kiss. A loving kiss. Jesus knew the pain of isolation. He also knew and dreaded the impending separation, when he would be forsaken by God, as he hung on the tree. And it says, and about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? No one likes to be alone. There are many people who deal with loneliness day in and day out, often from the death of a loved one. But Christ won us a security with his death. Death can never separate us from God. 2 Corinthians 5:8 tells us that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. No more separation. There was also physical pain in that cup that he looked into. We've all experienced some form of pain. You've had toothaches, you've had broken bones, you've had shots, and there's some form of pain. Jesus was fully God, but he was fully human also. And as a man, he experienced physical pain just like we do. He had nerves running through his body. As he looked into that cup, his humanity shuddered at the thought of the physical pain he was about to face. He knew he would be beaten and spit upon, and his beard would be plucked from his face. He knew a crown of long hard thorns would be crushed down upon his head. He realized that brutal soldiers would mock him. He foresaw that his back would be bared and his hands lashed above his head to a whipping post as he was scourged. He could hear the thudding and the tearing of his own flesh. He knew nails the size of railroad spikes would be driven into his hands and feet, and a spear would puncture his side. He saw all that and said, "Please, Daddy, take it away." There is untold physical suffering in our world. There's all manner of diseases. Have you sat by the bedside and watched as a loved one withers away from cancer? Then you've seen physical pain. But remember, Christ was born under the shadow of all this pain he would endure. He knew Isaiah 53. For he shall grow up before him as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form, no comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. We always say, "Oh, babies are beautiful." The Bible says there wasn't anything special about this baby. It was just a baby. I'm sad to report that my mother's first words to me were, "You're not very pretty, but I love you anyway." So I'm testimony that not all babies are pretty. Christ was pretty. He was a baby. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers is dumb. So he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence. Neither was any deceit in his mouth, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hands. He shall see the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. He suffered all this physical pain, and he knew he was going to. But there was something more in that cup. Emotional pain, yes. Physical pain, yes. And I'm sure that in his short 33 years, he had suffered some of each of those things. But the third thing that he saw in the cup, he had never experienced in his life. As terrifying as isolation and physical pain were, I believe neither of those came close to the dread Jesus experienced on the spiritual level. Remember, Jesus was wholly God in the flesh. He was perfectly sinless. He had never had a sinful thought or committed a sinful deed. But in that cup, he saw the sins of all of humanity. His holiness recoiled, and he thought of drinking in all that shame and disgrace. Can you remember a time when you did something wrong? And you felt really rotten about it. You felt guilty. Even as a child, you did something that maybe you thought you got away with. But just the mere mention of something would trigger the thought of what you did, and your stomach flips. And it was like, oh, am I going to get caught? It's that guilty kick to the belly you get. Christ had never experienced that. He had no guilt. Think about the vilest criminals in our world. The Hitlers, the John Wayne Gacy's, Saddam Hussein's, the Osama bin Laden's, child abusers, rapists, serial murderers. In that cup was all the sickening, disgusting shame of every wicked act on this earth. And the Bible doesn't just say Jesus took our sins, he became sin. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. Imagine being immersed in a foul-smelling vat of warm, putrid, thick liquid with a foul stench. I mean, think of it. That's what he was looking at. The fluid in this vile vat had been infected with anthrax, smallpox, botulism, bacteria, mad cow disease, cancer, and other terrible bacteria, as well as rotting human flesh and sewage. Submerged in that liquid, drinking it, tasting it, smelling it, it fills your mouth, your nose, your ears, your eyes. Are you sick yet? Now multiply your revulsion by 1,000,000,000. You might come close to understanding what it was like for the sinless Son of God to be submerged into the filth of our sins. Now, can you understand why Jesus revolted in horror when he looked into that cup? But he still chose the cross. Jesus found peace. And so when I look at that picture now, it changes for me. I don't accuse myself anymore of being a bad Christian. I look at it and I say, if he could accept all of that, if he could fold his hands and bow his head with a slight smile on his face and accept all of that, can't I accept my trials? The olives are crushed 3 times, and Jesus returned to pray the same prayer 3 times. Each time he begged God, saying, Abba, Father, Daddy, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. That's the turning point. He said, Father, you know what I want. I want to avoid the loneliness, the pain, and the disgrace. But Father, I cherish your will more than my own, so I'll do what you wish. And Luke 22, verse 43 reads, An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. There's another famous painting by the Danish artist Carl Bloch that pictures this moment, with the angel hovering over him, resting its head on Christ's shoulder. We don't know what that angel said or did. We just know that Jesus drew strength from that angel. Maybe he reminded Christ of the 12 legions of angels that awaited his beck and call. Or maybe it was, your Father loves you, and this is why he sent you here. All we know is that when Jesus returned the third time, he had found peace in the garden as he prayed. That was the crushing Gethsemane experience of Jesus. What's your Gethsemane today? Is it your marriage, your family, your health, your finances, your job? Do you have a temptation? You name it. What crushing challenge are you facing? Whatever shape or form your Gethsemane takes, what are you going to do when you face a crushing experience? We're to do just as Jesus did. Pray. Jesus prayed his way through to victory. When you face a challenge, that's the first thing you should do. Prayer shouldn't be your last resort. It should always be our first resort. You may be thinking, well, I have prayed. I've prayed many times about this. But have you taken the next step? Jesus prayed, take this cup away from me. Let me give you a 21st century paraphrase. Get me out of this mess. You may be asking God to change your circumstances, and he's more interested in changing you. You want him to fix the problem, and he wants to fix you. Like Jesus, don't hesitate to ask God for what you want, but you always add, not my will, but yours be done. We read about the Garden of Eden. God put two people there and shared his will with them. But the first Adam chose his will over God's. And it was the ruination of humanity. He said to God, I know your will is not to eat the fruit. But it's exactly what I really want to do. And I'm going to do it. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 says, Jesus is called the last Adam. The last Adam was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he surrendered his will to God, and he redeemed humanity. Not my will, but God's. Trust his perfect plan. Even when you can't see it, it's there. Trust. God had a plan for Jesus. The Bible says he is the Lamb of God, slain from the foundation of the world. The cross was always God's plan. We know that. It was prophecy. And Christ knew it from his birth. He understood. And I'm sure that on any given day in the temple, he had read that very scripture to the people. It was scary, and it was intimidating to him, to Jesus, the human little boy, to the teenage Jesus, to the adult Jesus. So he hesitated. But in the end, he decided to trust his Father's plan. God has a plan for our lives as well. Will you trust him?